trying to help people for a very long time. 22 years, as long as I've been born. And I find that throughout all the instances of trying to help people, there's only one tactic that works effectively all the time. Most of the time, but all the time. That tactic, I will show you today. So, remember, the best way to help people is don't help people. Now, I'm sure you're not convinced just yet, but to convince you, I have prepared 3 different instances of why you shouldn't help people. To start, sometimes there are situations when you're learning something new, like going to the gym, and when you go, okay, so when you're going to the gym, you're not in a position, and you have a routine down, you're not in a position where you want advice from people. And imagine you're in the middle of an exercise, and maybe your form isn't perfect, but somebody comes along, this guy, he's like, hey, bro, your knees are too past your shoes. That's bad form, they'll hurt you. And you're just like, what? You don't want to hear that right now. And the thing is, this person is genuinely trying to help you. He doesn't want your form to hurt you in the future. But the method that he uses to do it is ineffective because eventually you will resent him because giving advice to somebody who's in the middle of an exercise is generally not a good thing to do. And because you resent his advice, you won't follow it, even though you might even know that it's the right advice. So don't help people. The other reason is, it's not good if, when there's a girl doing this, that there are 3 times as many people giving her advice. It's just not good. Because that means that there's another motive behind the advice. So the girl won't even want to take your advice. She'll think you're a creep. Maybe. Well, you look like that. Second instance, I call it the dude in distress. Let's say you're playing an MMORPG, and you're this paladin over here, and you're fighting a dinosaur, and you're losing, but you're trying your best. So some passerby comes along, and you know he's high level. He's level something. You can't even see his face, his level is so high. And he sees you're in distress, and he thinks, oh man, young player, gotta help him out. I was there once. So he summons the powers of darkness or something. And he kills the dinosaur for you. And you're just like, then he says, oh, no problem, bro, I got this. Disappears. And you're like, what the hell? Why? I was fighting, sorry. I was fighting the dinosaur all by myself. I could have accepted the loss of the situation, and I didn't need your help. And therefore, don't help people. Do you know who this guy is? You've seen him before, but this time, he's not here to help you. He wants your help. He knows you're in his class, and he's like, hey, don't we have, computer science programming together? Oh, you know that assignment that I had to do? Oh, I had to prepare this speech. I didn't have enough time to do it. Can I have the assignment from you? And you're just like, I can give it to you. But the thing is, if you give it to him, he's not going to learn. He's going to just say, oh, he's going to submit, and then when the final comes along, he's going to fail. Are you really helping him? So, don't help people. But, what's the problem with helping people in these instances? The biggest problem, you ready, is you! Not you, your ego. The thing is, whenever you try to help people, there are 3 different instances. You have either no experience and no practice, and so you want to encourage yourself by giving advice. This guy, he's experienced, he's lifting weights. If I tell him something, then I'm as good as him at least, maybe on some level. Or if, let's say, you're a person who's really skilled and experienced and knows things, you want to feel good about the skills and experiences you've gained, and then you help others by feeling strong about yourself. And lastly, when you've got everything mastered and you're just skying through life, like Abdurrahman does when he's on a programming quiz. He got 100, by the way. You want to feel good about yourself. So sometimes you want to get out of an assignment, which you would never do. How do you help people? Well, the thing is, the best way to help people is to only help when they're asked. If somebody comes to you and says, yo, I have a problem, help them help themselves. Give them the solution and help them walk through the door themselves. Open the door, which is your advice, and make sure that they do it themselves, and not because you told them to, or because you gave them the answers, or because you know something they don't. Let's go through the instances again. Now, sometimes there are situations where people might be in an effort of earning a Darwin Award. In those instances, it is important to help people. But you can clearly see he's doing something that is irreversibly dangerous. This person could die. Maybe could die very painfully. So what you should do is to try to take the humble route. Instead of going directly to him and demasculating him, you should go to a coach and say, hey, coach, there's this guy, and I think he has his vectors wrong, he's going the wrong way. Coach is like, oh yeah, that's Tom. Tom doesn't get it. He likes CrossFit. He goes to Tom and he's like, Tom, don't do this. Don't do this, Tom. Tom's like, oh, sorry, there's too many days. And Tom fixes his form. But that's not your problem. You did your job in trying to help somebody avoid irreversible damage. The second instance, if we return back to the MMORPG, sometimes people are beyond their scope of capabilities. If you come along and they're like losing and they ask you for help, instead of killing the monster for them, you should help them fix their own problems. And they might even thank you for it. So, last but not least, sometimes it's important when somebody comes to you for help and you know that if you help them now, it will hurt them later. It's important to let them fail. Because if they fail early, it's okay. It's important to fail. The only way you can learn is from failure. But if you help them by giving them the answers, or solving their problems for them, or being an ass at the gym, it's not really helping. You're not genuinely improving their state of life and their psychological